don't know if people... Oh, here we are! We're on the air. Welcome to Mobile Agent TV. I am Michael Thorne of Remax Little Oak Realty in Langley, BC, and my co-host, as always, is Dave Falkware from Bridgewater, New Jersey's Remax Preferred Professionals in the Enviro Realty team. Dave, I sent you guys out a Facebook message. I just ran from the negotiations that I've been working on. I'm here. There's no intro music. There's no lower third. I messed up the opening. That's the life of a working realtor, right, Dave?
Yeah. You know what? You'll have to train me to do this. One of these days I'm going to do this show without you. I don't know how I would do that. That would really but we should try.
And off the top of it, I want to let you know that we have two of our favorite guests coming back on the show. Raj Kazar. I didn't say our two favorite guests because Raj did reach out on Twitter and was a little concerned that he might not be in there. But anyway, Dave and I did not plan to wear the T-shirts we're wearing. I have to. Yeah. We are paying full retail price for BombBomb. In fact, Dave is taking coaching through BombBomb through their new program now too as well. And just want to let you guys know that off the hop. Now, last week's show, we did promote that we're going to have Laura Monroe was going to join us from Inman News. Things are crazy at Inman right now. She's super busy. She sends her apologies and a regret not for being here. We'll get Laura on a show down the road to talk about other stuff. I want to say a big thank you to everyone over at the fans of the RE Source TV. After the episode last week, Dave, tons of people reached out, reached a lot of new audience, a lot of people going to the mobileagenttv.com, signing up for the newsletter. So really great feedback from that audience, and so we welcome all those people that have now found Mobile Agent TV and that are now watching. And just one last time, it'll be the last time I mention it this month. I apologize for the Movember. Valerie is a big fan of the Movember mustache, but we are raising money and awareness for men's health, and so that's why I look like this. And for the next 2 weeks, you might just want to listen to the podcast. You just might want to just go straight to the podcast and forget watching the video altogether. So really great topic today. I'm going to make sure we got the Q&A function going on right now. I am using not my normal computer, so I hope everything's going to be good. Really encourage you guys to tweet questions at Mobile Agent TV or using the hashtag MATVLive, because this conversation, I don't really know where this conversation is going to go. We're going to go off in a bunch of different directions. We're going to debate, roundtable, discuss the pros and cons, the inevitability, all the ins and outs of realtor reviews and ratings. And it is a topic that's sort of been on the back burner the last year and a half and is now moving more and more to the front burner as it becomes a bigger player in our industry. So I want to introduce today's guests. First of all, one of our favorite people, one of the biggest supporters of Mobile Agent TV, would like to welcome Valerie Garcia back to the show. You can get her on Twitter at Valerie Garcia1. She is the Director of Training at Remax INTEGRA, fun-loving and slightly sarcastic, adores travel, tech, and photography. Val, welcome back to the show.
As always, thank you so much for having me.
And one more question. I think it's the first time you've come back on the show since the change in title. So why don't you let our audience know your new position here in the Remax family?
Well, I'm lucky enough to be heading up the team of trainers now throughout our INTEGRA North America regions. And so I get to help shape and develop the curriculum and the training that we provide to about 17,000 agents throughout parts of Canada and North America. So exciting job, lots of fun, finger on the pulse of training and issues related to real estate for our agents, and yeah, it's a good time.
Now, you just got back from Remax Europe Convention in Barcelona. Any big takeaways there? What was that experience like?
You know, Europe is a lot of fun because we like to joke that it's kind of the new Wild West in that they are just super excited to take on new technologies, new ideas, and it's a fantastic environment to be in for people that are just really, really excited to try new things. And I think sometimes we get so many new things bombarding us here in North America that we kind of get a little bit immune to them, and we're kind of like, new shiny thing, whatever. But in Europe, they're very excited about new ideas and new things, so it was a lot of fun to present to them.
Fantastic. Also want to welcome Ethan Beute back to the show. You can get him on Twitter at Ethan Beute, B-E-U-T-E, and his 160 Twitter bio reads, marketing, branding, and content guy, CMO at BombBomb, husband and father, BA at U of Mich, which is in Michigan, MBA at UCCS, excitable and generally curious, fresh air and clean water. Welcome back to the show, Ethan.
Thanks so much, man. It's September 2013. That's a good time. Episode 29. We're back. Thank you for the invite.
Now, Ethan, I think you're a really great fit for this conversation. I think some people reached out for me beforehand and like, where does Ethan play into this conversation? First of all, we want to have someone that wasn't inside baseball, outside the industry, but understands the industry, as well as not only BombBomb as a company has been very it has embraced getting reviews from past customers, but there's a lot of ways that I know a lot of great agents are leveraging BombBomb as a platform in order to get those reviews and ratings from their clients. So when we go around, Ethan, round table wise, we definitely want to hear from a regular buyer that's not inside the industry, and then let us know what else we can do. And so we definitely want you to chime in as much as you possibly can.
Super.
Okay, so we're going to go round table. Once again, I really encourage you all to ask your questions. You can just click on the blog, ask your questions. You can get us on Twitter. But let's dive right into ratings and reviews. Now, we've talked about the book in recent weeks, Game Changers. They rated everything that would likely happen in industry, the likelihood of it happening, and then what the impact would be. The likelihood of ratings and reviews becoming a thing in the real estate industry, they rated as probability high, with the effect being moderate. And so just on that note, Dave and Valerie, let's start with the two of you there. Do you both agree that ratings and reviews of some kind is an inevitability inside the real estate industry? Dave?
I do. To me, it's like the ultimate accountability. There's a lot of controversy about it because a large portion of the real estate agents aren't going to be able to get reviews because they're just not either technologically savvy, they're not doing the transactions. I'm all for it. I mean, like the cream's got to rise to the crop. The cream's got to rise to the top.
We're with you on that.
I hear you. I say that all the time. And Val, just as far as what you see, is it something that's going to happen?
I think it's already happening, but I think before we dive into this conversation, we really need to clarify the difference between a ranking, a rating, and a review, because all three are very different. And I think sometimes the problem is that we shove them all in the same bucket, and that's where the debate really comes up, is that, so a review is what people say about you, right? We can all agree that that's the case. A review is something someone's saying about you. Ranking is where you're ranking is where you're ranked based on a certain criteria or performance. So ranking would be like best to worst or number of transactions. And that's the one that gets, ranking is where it gets a little bit prickly in our industry. And then rating is where people give you like a number of stars. So like your 4-star, your 5-star. Inevitably, reviews have always been a part of this industry. We've just always called them testimonials. And the reason why, and the difference between a review and a testimonial is a review is where we tell it all, good and bad. Testimonials where we just take out the good and only show that. And,
Val, thanks for taking the lead, because I think we definitely want to separate those things. There's a definitely fundamentally different thing between a testimonial. It's something that is filtered. A review is something that's on Yelp, on Google+. It's you can't control who says stuff about you. And then we get into ratings and rankings, which is a scale of some kind based on statistics. So on that note, I want to tackle reviews first, and then we'll get into ratings, because I think reviews is a lot easier to get our head around. Rankings becomes when it sort of gets kind of complicated.
Yep.
I don't know what the stat is. It's on my other computer. The amount of hours that people will research real estate before they reach out to a real estate agent and actually make physical contact is extremely high, and probably something that's growing.
It's like 11.4 hours.
11.4 hours. That's a lot of time. There is no doubt in that 11.4 hours that they aren't looking at reviews. I think if you don't have a review, it's the same thing as like a restaurant that doesn't have a review. To me, has bad food. I just
Off the list. It's not even in the consideration set.
It's not in the consideration. Thanks, Ethan. It's not in the consideration. So that is something that if people are looking for it and you don't have reviews, that you're not on the list. The other thing for me as a consumer, I know that I have returned less products and being more satisfied with my purchases in the last 2 years because of reviews, because I think I have a better understanding of what I'm getting in return, because I've had actual consumer feedback. That wouldn't we want that for our industry? Wouldn't we want our consumers to match up with the right agent to get a good experience? We've all had those clients that come to us that have had a previously bad experience, and actually those are some of my favorite clients that I like because then I can over-deliver to them. But they've also put their life on hold for 6 months because they made a mistake going with the wrong agent, and it makes us as an industry look bad. So, Dave, there was a Facebook post that went out actually yesterday talking about ratings and reviews. If you aren't willing to embrace, and if you're not excited about reviews, Dave, don't you have a customer experience issue? It's not about the reviews. Isn't it about the experience you're providing your clients if you're concerned about what people are going to say about your business?
Absolutely. I don't think if you're a successful agent providing value to your clients, I don't think it's very hard to get reviews. And the difference between the ratings and the rankings is the reviews. There's somebody who's giving you the reviews. It's usually the consumer. Rankings, that's internal to the real estate business. You know, okay, I'm the #1 agent in RE/MAX. I'm the #1 team in this area. And I can tell you from experience, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing a good job just because you sold a lot of real estate. You know, are you getting repeat and referral business? Are people going to recommend you? Because that's the other thing. Other than the reviews, it's getting repeat and referral business. And I think agents that get a lot of that are going to get reviews. One of the other things that I don't know if it's valid or not, but I'm a premier agent on Zillow, and I think I got 10 or 15 reviews up there right now, and they just sent me an email the other day that says that agents that have more than 10 reviews get 3 times the amount of leads, if everything apples being to apples, okay? And I can believe that on Zillow. You know, since as our review numbers has increased, we're getting more leads. Now, I don't know if there's any real correlation between that, but I really think there is, because the largest group of buyers are the millennials, and they're coming fast, and they're the ones that are doing these reviews more than anybody. Look at the baby boomers are still kind of, and they're going to. They rely on a different source, and reviews are a small percentage, at least according to the real trend stats that we saw in our book.
Yeah, absolutely. Val, on the same topic about should we not be embracing it? And if you are nervous about reviews, shouldn't you look inside what you're doing day in and day out?
Well, I think it's funny because I was at NAR, the National Association of Realtors in New Orleans last weekend, and I was sitting in a session that Lee Brown, and you know Lee Brown, was facilitating, and she basically said, look, you know, you guys need to embrace reviews. They're here. Get over it. Basically, that was the gist of what she said, and there were people in the room that booed her. Like, they booed. First of all, they booed Lee Brown. Come on, but they booed that comment, and I looked around and I was like, for real? And so I couldn't help myself. I tweeted out, like, if you don't want people to review you, like, what are you hiding? Because at some point, if you don't want people to review the work that you're doing, there's a problem with your customer service strategy in general, because, you know, people are afraid. We want to control what they say. Can we filter out the bad reviews? That was the #1 question is, yeah, can we take out the bad reviews? And I'm like, can you control what people say about you in real life?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Up your service level and you won't get bad reviews.
So, I mean, I think that's the #1 thing. People are afraid. What are people going to say? Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, if they say something bad, I think what you need to do is go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and say, why did they give me this bad review?
Absolutely.
Do something about it. Maybe there's some validity to that bad review.
Well, and to be fair, Dave, sometimes there isn't. Right? People are saying you can game the system. Sometimes people can hold you hostage by giving you a bad review and then saying I'll take it down if you pay me. But I feel like that's the fringe, right? I feel like those are the odd cases. That's not the norm.
No, it's not, and that's life. You know, that's going to happen. I don't care what you do. There's always somebody be out there. And most of the time, I think it's probably driven by another agent who's jealous of your level of production. I mean, who knows?
But I mean, we can't suppress reviews in general because that might happen.
No, and I would say on the consumer side, an overall rating, let's call it a 5-point rating, right? 5 stars. You know, to me, a 4.4 or a 4.6 is a lot more credible to me than a 5.0, right? So when I shop a lot at Amazon, got Amazon Prime, and I would say I agree completely with LeBron on what you just said, Val, is that this is happening. It's always been happening. I see reviews as a consumer as a checkbox on the way to saying, yes, I choose you, right? Your whole goal in that lead follow-up and conversion and even lead generation, like how that's happening is make it really easy to say, yes, I choose you. And so reviews are just a check mark on the way. Do they have reviews? Like, I'm not going to read 75 reviews and look for stories that match up with my system. I just want to know that you're active, that you're working with it, and that people generally say positive things about you. So when I look at Amazon products or products on Amazon, I'm looking for like a curve. Like, I want a lot of 5s and 4s. I'm good with some 3s. I do want to see a couple 2s, and I want to see some 1s, right? Like, I want it to be kind of a curve where it's really heavy on the 3s, 4s, 5s, but having bad reviews is bad when you have 5 reviews, but it's not bad when you have 75 reviews, and it's of no consequence at all when you have 120. It just makes the whole thing more credible.
Yeah.
On that point, Ethan, and I actually wanted to speak about that. You know, the adage that an apple spoils the bunch doesn't apply in reviews. In fact, we just had our first bad review on our team 2 weeks ago from someone we never did a transaction with. You know, Jordan brought it to my attention, and Jordan said it sort of half like, what are you going to do? But we also had reviews that counteracted that review. So to me, it's so important for agents to play offense in reviews because, like you said, that just dropped us from 5 stars to 4.95 or 4.7, whatever. It doesn't matter. That one review doesn't hold water, but if it's your only review, it certainly does. So those reviews that aren't valid are going to happen. But if you have healthy reviews of people that have liked your experience, you've got to play offense in this game. I think you have, like you said, Ethan. I don't have any problem with one person giving a 1-star rating on a new camera lens that I'm going to buy because the explanation might be it didn't do what I thought it was going to do, even though it's good. It just doesn't fit my needs. That's fine. I think you have to play offense, and that's one thing BombBomb has done. Is like when I went and saw you at RF4, you just came up to me and said, "Hey, Michael, do you have a minute?" and put a camera in front of my face. You have to be proactive and aggressive with getting these reviews outside of an eventual industry system of some kind, right? Ethan, you guys have been very brash about getting reviews.
Yeah, we could actually do a better job of getting reviews and star rankings. But yeah, we're very aggressive about getting customer testimonial videos. And I generally, when I do an ask, I did an open contest for customers, and I'll ask literally everybody, and we'll take everything that comes. We publish everything that comes. I'll then further edit them so that it's just like a little 30-second, love fest essentially. But that's just part of the whole situation. I think it is helpful. Again, going back to my checking the box on the way to saying yes, I choose you. It's more important to some people than other people, and we obviously, with thousands and thousands of people in free trial and deciding whether or not to become customers of our service, some people, that's a bigger box to check, like what do other people say. But inevitably, and I'll tie this straight back to real estate, inevitably I'm engaged with you because I asked at the office. I asked at the family get-together dinner on Sunday afternoon, right? Like I was referred to you in some way, and so now I'm just vetting you out. So your Twitter profile and what you're tweeting, your Facebook page and what it says, your reviews on Zillow, your reviews on Trulia, your reviews on Google, wherever I want to look, they're just checking boxes to say, yep, what my friend told me is true, right? So that's how these videos play out. Sometimes they're lead gen because they're on YouTube for us, but really it's just a checkbox on the way to say, yep, I feel pretty good about this BombBomb situation, or yep, I feel good about working with Michael Thorne on my next transaction.
Okay, so Ethan, before I ask the next question though, do you think that in 2015, let's go 2015 because it's just around the corner, that even if you are recommended or referred from your friend, you still go home and check reviews?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's the point too as well about it. We live in a repeat and referral business, but today's consumer is still going to, even though their buddy who they trust said so, they're still going to double check their buddy's word.
Absolutely, they're going to run through based on who they are. Again, that's what I mean. Like the reviews and ratings box is a bigger box to check for some people than others. It's more important to some people than it is to others. But yes, if I I'm like, oh man, I'm thinking about listing my house. Like, I want to sell this thing. You know, and I bring it up at lunch. Like, we have lunch at the office every Tuesday and Friday, so I'm about to go up to lunch. I'd ask around, like, and I'm sitting, you know, I'm talking with maybe 5 people in this conversation at a table of 30 people, and, you know, I'm going to hear 2 or 3 names. I'm going to go out and just check them out. And so it's just part of that journey to, I'm interested in making this happen. I'm looking for the right person. I got 3 leads that were recommended to me, right, like 3 different agents that were recommended to me, and I'm going to check them out online in general. Just check them out. You know, what's their style? And ultimately, the goal of all these things is just to get into a face-to-face conversation, right? So it's just to, yep. Okay, I feel good enough that I'm going to take my time to meet with you in person, and ultimately my decision is going to be made, and I'm not obviously speaking for every consumer, but my decision is going to be made based on how I feel about you in person, how engaged you are with me, how responsive you are to my needs and interests, the types of questions you ask, and how attentive you are in general on the spot and in the, you know, days and weeks that follow that.
Totally agree.
One part of the whole puzzle.
We back up a second to a bad review. I think a bad review is an opportunity to show your side of your customer service.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you got a bad review, and you answer a bad review. You say, you know, I'm really surprised to hear that. Here's my personal cell. Give me a call. Let me see if I can rectify that issue.
Yep.
Where I wasn't aware of that my team member did this or whatever. It's like, just show me your customer service side, and that stuff's published right in there below the reviews, isn't it? And some, I don't know about on Zillow, but in other places you have a chance to answer reviews.
We're recommending the replies to reviews everywhere that you can do it, whether it's a good one or a bad one.
Well, the funny thing is, in a NAR session last weekend, a similar conversation happened about reviews, and the speaker said to the audience, so what do you do when you get a bad review? And like 3 people said, delete it. And I was like, what?
Oh.
I'm like, this is why the problem is what it is, right? You don't delete it, you reply to it. You know, you flood you stop worrying about that negative review, like Michael said, and you flood your sites with your positive reviews, and then it speaks for itself. You know, it's crazy. Delete it.
Well, here's the interesting for me about ratings and reviews. There's 2 fundamental ways that an agent can build business: repeat and referral, or new business. The thing about ratings and reviews is it affects both sides equally. The reason why you have so much repeat and referral business is because you have provided a good experience to people, you over-exceeded their expectations, and they have sent their coworker, their brother, their friend to you. That's ratings and reviews. It might be not online, but what you did qualified for them to give a review to someone else. The same way, publishing that same rating and reviews and the way they feel about you publicly will generate new business. What you do day in and day out, your personal brand, will affect repeat and referral business, building a business, or help you drive a new business. But the day-to-day experience for you is the same. It's not paying money for a bunch of ads. It's delivering on your actual job that affects repeat and referral and ratings. And so if you're concerned, and we can get into rankings, which is a completely different conversation, but in ratings, if you're concerned about it, like Dave says, you got to look in the mirror. I think it's a great accountability thing. And as an industry that's so desperate to raise the bar, wouldn't we want public accountability? And so that those consumers don't have that 6-month experience, a bad experience with an agent, and then get frustrated and paint us all with the same brush. I think it's crazy to not want this to happen.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
No, Ethan, you first.
Can I tell a quick story that illustrates what you're talking about, Michael, with if you deliver great service and you actually have good relationships with your past clients, that feeds the review process. Quick story. So we got a Remax agent customer of ours named Andy Alger. He's in Fenton, Michigan. Awesome.
My nemesis, Andy.
In all the right ways. And if Andy's watching, Michael is only your nemesis because he wants to have more videos than anyone else in his BombBomb account. He's just cranking. But he sent out one video email to his past client set, and it's only like 280 people. And in sending a personal video, well, I don't mean personal, one video to 280 people, and he said, hey, Andy here, you know how people make decisions these days. They like to kind of know what's going on online. If you can help the other folks in our community and help me out personally, you just click that link right down below and take 2 minutes. It'll go to my Trulia page. And if you could just write a review about your experience working with me and my team, it would just mean so much, and it would help other folks in the community. Thank you, right? So a couple cool things about that. One, you're one click away from being exactly where you need to be. So he's making it really easy for you to write a review. But the deal is, he had like I actually just wrote this up in a blog post, like a 65% open rate on the email, and he got 88 clicks to his Trulia page. Now, I think if consumers didn't have to create profiles in Trulia in order to write a review, which gets into kind of like the credibility issue. I understand why they do it. He got 88 clicks there. It turned into 16 reviews. Wow. So of that share, a bunch of them fell away because they just didn't want to make a profile, and it was actually another step. But he got 16 reviews just by asking the people he had worked with, some of them 2 months ago, some of them 2 years ago, some of them 6 years ago. But because he takes care to maintain those relationships and stay in front of those people, he immediately has now, he had 1 review prior to this email send. Now he has 16, and if someone rolls in and wants to drop a 3 on him or drop a 2 on him, not a big deal, because that voice is completely drowned out by, right now he's at a 5.0. I personally think he'd be in better shape with a 3 in there to bring him down to like a 4.9 or a 4.8.
Yeah, I agree.
Just asking for it, if you treat people well, like that's something any of you could do today. Like, okay, I have 300 past clients. I'm just going to go ask them. Like, decide where you want to collect those reviews and just ask them and make it a personal appeal and give them 1 click to do it.
And see how potentially he's changed his business too, based on what Dave's stat was. Dave's stats was if you have 10 more reviews, that you get more. Like he has in a click, and he's touched his clients. And I'm sure the people that wrote reviews, I know what Andy would be like. He would send out a video saying thank you so much, and show them.
He sent personal. Well, he sent personal handwritten notes to them because he's already sent in plenty of videos. And another interesting thing there was the star system is interesting in that it's all 5s, like we said, and the folks that gave him reviews, he followed up also with the folks that clicked through but couldn't give him reviews, and it got a couple more out of that. So there is a little bit of a hang-up there for people, but doing it in a way that they can activate, whether it's an ask on your Facebook page or an ask on your Twitter profile, or whether it's in an email or a video email, giving them 1 click to get there is super helpful. And managing those expectations, I think if he does that again, he'll let them know, hey, you need to create this profile.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, Michael, I got to tell you, so I was in Spain, obviously, for the European convention, and something happened there that totally changed the way I feel about reviews.
Okay.
And I've always been very, very adamant that, reviews are important. You got to do it. At the very least, ask for a LinkedIn recommendation, So I'm in Spain, and I took this culinary walk. So I had this local guide take us around all these places you'd never think to go and eat. And so we go into this place, and there's no sign. Like, I have no idea what this restaurant's called. And it's this little hole in the wall, and you walk in, and the grandmother's cooking, and the mother's serving tables, and the father's, doing the dishes, and the son is, like, at the door welcoming you. So it's family business. So the local guide tells us that this restaurant's been operating for 50 years on the wharf in Barcelona. So their business comes from, fishermen and local people who come in and get their lunch, fresh seafood, eat, go back to work, whatever. They're only open for lunch. And 50 years they've been operating. So I look around, and like every table, every seat is full. There's a line at the door. Business is good. So we go in, we sit down, we eat. Food is amazing. As we're leaving, the son comes running out onto the street and says something in Spanish to the guide. He's gesticulating. He's like all, and as we leave, I said to her, what was that all about? And she says, oh, he's asking me to please leave him a review on TripAdvisor. She says, I bring a group here every once in a while, and it's really. And I said, like, this business has been here 50 years. There's no sign on the door. Obviously, people come because they get great food, great service. And here's this kid who's like, maybe 25, and his thing is leave us a review. And to him, he's not thinking about the fact that his grandfather started the place and his father started working there, and now he's working there, and the place is crazy busy and the business is good. He's thinking about the future. He's thinking about the fact that someday business is going to change, and he's going to need to make sure he has income coming from tourists and other people who are going to want to find that place and hear about it another way. And I thought, that's the thing. It's not about, my business is good right now. I don't need reviews. I've got lots of repeat and referral business. I don't need to worry about it. I don't want the negative reviews clouding, whatever. It's about, there are people online right now looking to figure out, who am I going to work with? And what am I going to do next? And those reviews are talking to them before you've ever even had a chance to explain to them who you are and what you do.
Totally agree, and it's funny how this will happen whether the industry wants it or not to happen. It's going to happen. TripAdvisor in the travel industry, perfect example. Uber, I mean, the one of the reasons why Uber works is the consumer wants control. They don't want a cab. They want to have a cab that was rated. Like, we as consumers have the ability to have control. We all have control like never before. So we're going to exercise that right and that privilege to have control, and that is only going to continue to grow and grow and grow. I don't buy anything without review. Well, I don't buy anything over a couple $100 without reading reviews from every piece of camera equipment, every audio piece of equipment. I just bought some new software. I read reviews. I looked at feedback. I mean, that's just the way it's going to happen. And like you say, here's someone planning for the future. And I think this car horn is going on here. Very, very safe community I live in. Very, very safe community. It's beautiful. But okay, one more thing before we get into rankings, because the conversation changed there. Outside your personal opinion, putting the individual realtor aside, does some sort of rating or review system as an industry raise the bar? Dave.
I think so, and I think it's, you know the term we've always used here, thin the herd. I mean, there's the reason that Realtor.com, they were going to do agent match. Remember that agent match? That was a big controversy. Well, why do you think they dropped that? Because a large portion of the realtors, and maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but a large portion of them aren't selling any real estate, and they really don't care to embrace technology and do the things that we're talking about here. So, it's definitely going to raise the bar. I mean, everybody's got, if you want to stay in business and go forward, you have to be doing these things. And if you don't do them, well, then the chips are going to fall where they may.
If your business is based on an uneducated consumer, you're in trouble, because the education is going to happen.
And the guy that Valerie just talked about, he was a millennial, wasn't he?
Yeah.
There you go. That's why. If he was 45 or 50 years old and he was the son working in the restaurant, he never would have cased you down, and he wouldn't even know what TripAdvisor was. He just would have been.
Does some sort of industry standard raise the bar?
It depends on what you mean by industry standard. I mean, I think if there's an look, I think TripAdvisor raises the bar when you're traveling, and I think it's because it's become the go-to place, and it's popular enough, and there's enough of a system that enough people use it that it's fair and balanced. I think the problem with the industry right now is there's not one place that collects everything, and so people really do have to do their homework. You might get great reviews on Zillow, you might have bad reviews on Trulia, you might have so-so, reviews on Facebook. It's going to really mean that we all have to come together as an industry and embrace this happening. Now, Zillow's just announced that they're going to start feeding their reviews to alternate sites, so brokers can start pulling. I think that's a good thing. People are freaking out. But I mean, I think what this means is that your reviews are going to start to become more accessible and follow you. That's a good thing. You want balanced reviews. The only way it's going to raise the bar in this industry is if we have more transparency and more context.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we've got some BombBomb questions for Ethan. We'll put off till the end. David, I will ask your question. Let's get into rankings or ratings, which is a completely different set of circumstances. And here's where I have a problem with this thing. I don't think rankings tell the story about an agent. And so what rankings would be the number of transactions per month, the list to sell ratio, the active days on the market. And one of the reasons why I don't think it tells a story is I don't, and I've been very public about it, have the ambition to run a Chris Spiker type business. Love Chris Spiker, love what the Spiker team is doing. They're amazing, they're great customer service. I just don't have the ambition to do that many transactions a year. So therefore, is he better one-on-one client experience than me? Potentially, but that doesn't tell the story. Mm-hmm. Listing to sale ratio. There are some agents in different marketplaces that only take a listing if it's priced 3% below market value. It goes out the next day. Their days on the market are 7 days. their sale to listing ratio is close to 100%, but their client didn't potentially get maximum market value. So if our team is willing to work our butts off for the 65 days to maximize the marketing, to find the ideal buyer that will pay top dollar, we might get a 98% list to sell ratio, and we might be 63 days on the market, but did I do a better job for my client? Potentially. Maybe there's more money in the pocket. So that's an issue. Do people that work on Dave's team, and Dave gets all the rankings and reviews, Dave mentors them, they become a great agent, and they turn to Dave and say, Dave, now I'm ready to go out on my own. Are they brand new agents? Do they take any of those transactions with them? A guy like JP, a new agent for Remax here locally in the Fraser Valley, he's a great guy. He's super ambitious. He's a go-getter. Does it mean a 15-year-old veteran just going through the motions would provide a better customer experience from a guy that just got his license? I don't know. So that's my little beef with ratings. Dave, Valerie, and then Ethan. Dave, where does rankings happen, and does it tell the whole story?
No, it doesn't tell the whole story to me. Do you think, Michael, in sort of a rebuttal in a way to what you say, do you think any of that contributes at all? You know, those the factors that I sold more houses in Fort Langley last year than anybody. Do you think that has any validity at all?
Absolutely has validity. I just don't. I think it tells a story. I don't think it tells the whole story. Listen, if you're doing one transaction a year, you're not a professional agent. But what's the difference between someone doing 35 and 135? I mean, the customer experience. Here's when I go in a listing presentation. Quite often, my client asks me, "How many listings are you carrying right now?" We get asked that all the time. I never know if they want me to say 100 because then they know I'm busy, or they want me to say 5 so that they know that I have time for them. I don't know what the right answer is, so we just always answer honestly, but I don't know what people are looking for. Some people don't want the busiest agent in the neighborhood, but I think it definitely, Dave, I believe it tells the story. I just don't think it tells the whole story, because if I went out of my way to underprice every listing to make my stats look good, I don't think that benefits the consumer. I don't think it does. So that's my concern.
Right. Well, because the thing about agent match, I mean, I have a little bit of knowledge about that, but I believe agent match only had to do with one thing, really. It had nothing to do with customer service or anything, just the number of transactions, and a lot of people went ballistic about that, and that's why they think they kind of just pulled back on it, because the largest number of realtors members aren't really selling any real estate. So, you know, the membership got crazy, and so they dropped it for now. But I think you'll see it again. I really believe you will.
But does McDonald's have better food than Kobe V Steakhouse because they sell more burgers in a day, right? Like, that's really the thing about it, and that's where, I mean, number of transactions isn't necessarily a good experience. Val, I can see you smirking.
That's where, I mean, I think that's why I say context. I always make sure to say there has to be context, because, and I believe that's one of the main reasons why Agent Match failed, was because it was mostly rankings. And I think that in order for this whole process to be successful, there needs to be both. It needs to be a hand-in-hand process. It needs to be rankings and reviews. And for the people that are afraid of rankings, that's your golden opportunity, is get out there and get reviews. Because if I'm traveling, and I hate to use TripAdvisor again, but if I'm traveling and I want to find a hotel in a town I've never been in, and I look and this is the #1 hotel, I'm not going to just say, well, this is the #1 hotel, I'm going to book it. I'm going to say, this is the #1 hotel, and then I'm going to read the reviews and find out why. Is it the #1 hotel because it's the cheapest? Well, maybe that's not going to be the one for me, right? Is it the #1 hotel because it's the closest to the best bar in town? Maybe not the one for me. I want to know why. And so people who are all like, I don't like rankings because there's no context. Well, reviews is your opportunity to add context. So if you're booing reviews, like, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Reviews come from the ultimate person that's going to give validity to all of this and say what should be first, and that's the consumer. You know, rankings and stuff come from us in our own little businesses, how many deals you did. The consumer is the one that tells us whether we're doing something right or we're doing something wrong.
Well, and Dave, let's face it, the consumer is getting smarter. They do their homework, and if we think they don't, we're kidding ourselves. Mm-hmm. They do their homework.
Everything is as transparent as it's ever been. I mean, it's, you know, they can look right into your office and they know everything you do, and so you best be putting your best foot forward, giving great customer service, you get good reviews, and you move up the ladder, so to speak.
I think
Ethan, just as a consumer, though, do you care days on market? Do you care list to sell ratio?
Here's the deal. Like when you start getting into that, first of all, I think data, it wants to be free. Data is going to be free. This information is going to be available in one way or another. I certainly don't propose some system that would make it fair. It requires a great deal of context. And so a couple thoughts. One, I don't think most consumers really, the vast majority of them probably aren't going to understand some of these ratios unless they're explained to them in some way. So that alone, the information alone requires context to have any meaning. My fear for all of you, my realtor friends and customers, is that there is going to be some kind of a ranking system where I can push one button, it's going to stack people, and you're going to be somewhere here for a reason that you don't want. I think that's what everyone's afraid of. First of all, I think that in the absence of a real clear system or real clear this is about to happen, with agent match being the only thing that made it anywhere close, is just fear from ignorance. Like, we don't know what this is going to be, we don't know how it's going to shape up. But what I'll say is, specific to the context idea and specific to your ambition, Michael, which is vast, by the way, just because you don't want to do that doesn't mean you're not incredibly ambitious. I mean, the fact that we're all here right now says a lot about who you and Dave are. But being perfectly clear with yourself about who you are, what you're trying to do, how you want to do it, why you want to do it for consumers, being really clear for yourself about what that is the first step. The second step is then translating that into your Facebook profile, your Twitter profile, your anywhere you have the opportunity to tell your story a little bit and make it really succinct, right? Like, I'm the guy in the Fraser Valley who does this, this, and this, or I'm the guy in the Fraser Valley who believes fill in the blank, right? And the more clear you are about it yourself, the more clear you're going to be about it to all the people that are reading your stuff online, that come into contact with you in person, and then that's going to make you more referable. It's going to make it easier for people to write reviews. Yeah, you know, Michael told me he was the guy in the Fraser Valley who did this, that, and the other thing, or he told me he was the guy in the Fraser Valley that really believes this, and man, was that ever true? He did this, 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 and this, and I expected this, but he delivered this, and it was amazing. 5 stars, right? And so that process, no matter how that stuff sorts out, being clear about who you are, how you choose to work, why you choose to work, what you're delivering or what you aspire to deliver, is going to help put whatever data inevitably pours out. It's going to help give you some context for that. And so as you're replying to reviews or anywhere that you have opportunities to talk about those rankings, there's some context for that. Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm the 18th highest producer by volume here in this community, but it's because, as I said before, this, this, and this is why I believe that, right?
So it really goes back to Val's context. I mean, it really, I mean, and I completely agree, but it has to do with being able to put everything into context.
Yeah, and I think from the consumer standpoint, the more you get into data, like, there are stats nerds. That's why there's fantasy football and fantasy baseball and fantasy hockey, and some consumers might go down that road, but in general, I think to the layperson, to the person that just wants to flick on the TV and watch a football game, they don't care about any of that stuff. Now, there's a little bit more invested, obviously, in the purchase or sale of a home than an hour of entertainment. But in general, I think a lot of that, unless it's given some really specific meaning, I think a lot of that data is going to be lost on a lot of consumers.
Yeah, and can I just, like, if I was tweeting right now, which, you know, I'm not doing because I'm paying attention, but, like, you said data requires context to have meaning. I love that. Like, that's amazing. The whole point in the content that we put out in video format and our blogs and social media, in our messaging and our marketing, should be to provide that context. So if you're afraid that rankings aren't going to give the full story, tell your story. Like, you know, it's not rocket science.
And here's Dave. I agree, Val. Dave, the Facebook feed that went yesterday, that went crazy with rankings and reviews, I just sat there and I looked at it, and a couple of people went, "It's here, embrace it, get over it," and then a lot of people debated it, and all I kept hearing in the back of my head was my co-host saying, "Just keep your head down." Like, why are we trying to worry who's going to do it, who's going to host it, what is it going to look like, when is it going to come?
Worry, anticipation.
Reviews.
Well, you know, see, here it is, right here.
Yeah.
Real simple, right? If you're going to do your business, I mean, we're having a nice conversation here, and when the show is over at 2 o'clock, we're going to go back and do our business. And then that's exactly what I say. Put your head down. Do what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, I quite frankly, I'm not really involved in realtors much at all because there's all this noise and all this argument always going on. It's just a lot of nonsense. There's nothing to do with me running my business. I'm running a business here, and most agents that want to be successful should be, we said it over and over, should be treating it like a business. So one of the things that's so at the top of the list is reviews. It's just there. It's coming. It's already here. It's going to get you business. And so I don't understand why, I just really have a hard time understanding why somebody would waste their time arguing over it and just embrace it and let's move forward. Embrace video, embrace paperless. They want to like fight it, well then fight it. You know.
But Dave, I think the issue is they're trying to fix the review after it's happened. You're building a business, so how you affect your review is the first day you meet a potential buyer and seller, and the review comes 6 months later. I think a lot of agents are trying to fix the review when it comes. You're approaching your business completely different. I think the transactional agent is in a whole lot of trouble moving forward for this reason and a multitude of other reasons. I think the transactional agent, once again, gets punished big time when it comes to reviews, rankings, and ratings. But you're concerned about the review way before it's ever written, and that's a different story.
Yeah, he's being written from the first touch.
They're punished because of that. It's their own fault. There's so much resources. The message is out here. It's here. I mean, come on, everybody's got to open their eyes and wake up. And the business is changing. And actually, it's not changing. It's like it's no different than it's ever been. There's 20% are at the top selling the real estate. Now, those 20%, there's a small percentage at the top that are really selling the real estate, and the rest of them are just schlepping along and they're not interested. And like you just said, that's going to shrink. The numbers are going to get to a few people, and the world is really changing fast. And I love it. I love it. The business is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Michael, I think you're right. It's chicken and egg. Like, people are so freaked out about what people are going to say about you. It comes back to the very first thing you said is, like, if you're freaked out about what people are going to say about you, just do a better job.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong.
There you go.
Then you don't have to worry about it. So, I mean, that seems really simple, but it's sort of like, hey, you know, like if I eat 6 cheeseburgers this week, I'm not going to feel great. So maybe don't eat 6 cheeseburgers. Like, it's a pretty simple fix, right? It's not like, oh, maybe take some of this, you know, vitamins. Like, it's just fix what you're doing that's going to lead to the review. I don't understand why it needs to be such a big deal.
Okay, now Val, I mean, I don't know how much you can actually say or want to say. As someone that works at a above franchise level, where is this going to speak to overall Remax culture? Like if you're the one great I shouldn't say Remax, but in an office, if you're the one great agent and there's 10 bad agents in your office, will you be guilty by association? Do you think that moving forward, agents out there will change or choose particular franchises to work with because they are guilty by association? Because what is it? It's hard to fly with eagles when you're hanging out with turkeys. But if you are hanging out with turkeys, you think you're going to get other people to jump ship because the overall brand's going to pay a price.
You know, I think it goes a step higher than that. I mean, our industry, let's face it, right now, I mean, even above the brand level, our industry ranks in the bottom 2 as far as reputation from service providers. We're below lawyers. We're down there with used car salesmen. And I know that makes you like wince, Dave, but the reality is that
True.
That's an actual fact. And until we decide as an industry, until we decide that we need to, and I know this is another whole other show, but like make it harder to be an agent, have greater expectations from people in our industry, and provide better service. It doesn't matter what brand you're with. There's turkeys everywhere, right? And, you know, if you're an eagle, you just need to do the best job you can at showing that you're a freaking eagle, and the turkeys are going to be the turkeys, right?
And to bring it all the way back around, the ratings and reviews are going to help sort the turkeys from the eagles.
Yeah.
Ah, beautiful.
No.
Ethan, I think customer experience, ratings and reviews affect a business that really cares about that for early on, like I talked with Dave. And once again, I love BombBomb. I love my whole experience with them. I was on a call with customer care with Jose yesterday, and just chatting about some issues. Not big issues, great issues. And I've talked to you, and I've talked to James, and I've talked to everybody. Because you care about the consumer, doesn't it start to breed culture? Is culture the result of really caring about what the end result for your consumer is?
That is a dramatic and significant part of our culture. Like, that's a decision that we made from the beginning, right? Like, service is one of our 5 core values, right? Like, operate from a position of service. What can I do for the guy sitting next to me, for the gal down the hall, for someone in free trial, for a customer that left us, like for a customer that's with us. So it's, you know, our core values are relationships, flexibility, fun, humility, and service. And so those kind of all, I think customer service is baked in there, right? Like, we like to have fun. And we think the service is sometimes fun for our customers to use. That's what they tell us back. People say that it's fun to get personal videos. And so, like, these values are just part of what we do overall, and I think it results in a good experience for customers. So we're not saying, okay, how can we design the best customer experience? It's just what we're trying to do every day. And I think, you know, when I think about the folks on this session here, I think, you know, anyone that is professional, competent, wants to be better tomorrow than he or she is today, that comes from a position of service or empathy, like I can feel your situation, and I want to make sure that it's better for you tomorrow than it was today, no matter how good or bad it was. Like, that just comes through. It's the type of people that you attract, right? And so I think if you have some Eagles in the bunch, and the Eagles aren't just, I'm going to crush this thing and I'm going to earn a crap ton of cash. It's, I'm going to deliver amazing service day in and day out, whether it's a $200,000 listing or a $2 million listing. Like, I think that attracts, and I just think yeah, culture breeds itself, particularly when you're clear about it from the beginning. You hire into that culture, and it's based around things that are customer-oriented in general. Like, yeah, so that's just a few thoughts on that.
And really, who doesn't like good service?
Everybody loves it.
Like,
everybody loves it.
You're going to find somebody who goes, no, I really would prefer you treat me like crap.
Yep, and I'll go back to the eagle and turkey thing. It's so easy for you to stand out, right? Like, if you type Realtors R into Google, like you do an incognito window and you type Realtors R, and you let Google guess what the next word is, to Val's point, it's not real positive. So, like, it's not hard for you to stand out. Like, and be exceptional. Like, be who you are, live it out, deliver amazing service, ask for reviews, make it easy for people to give you reviews and ratings, and it's all going to work out for you.
On that note, oh, sorry, Val, go ahead.
No, I finish your thought, and then I've got something to tell Dave.
Okay. Ethan, just to finish you up, because I know you guys got lunch, which is culture. There you go.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
David asks, can Ethan talk about video reviews, and should we be ambushing the client? Maybe the wrong word. Ambushing the client right at the closing for a review, or wait? What do you think the best thing is, Ethan? Yeah.
I think you should always be prepared. Always be prepared, and you ask politely. And if they're not comfortable, it's not going to be good. Like, a couple things. I do like you being ready to do that. And if that's something you really want, I would set the table for that. You know, I would let that be an expectation. Like, hey, this is an opportunity that you have, right? Like, going into it, so that when you're making the ask, the ground has been seeded a little bit and watered a little bit, and there's possibility there. There are a couple other things you can do as well. I mean, make an arrangement. I know this is an extra step and it's not as convenient for you, but if you think video testimonials that you can then put in YouTube, put in blog posts, transcribe, and then all of a sudden you have these words that you can use separate from the video itself. Like, there's a lot of value there for you to market your service, particularly if people are saying nice things about you. You might take that extra step and put them in their new home, right? Like, they're going to be a lot more comfortable and excited probably at their own home than they are when they're getting ready to bring a big-ass check to closing and sign a fat stack of documents, right? Like, it is a good time because you're both physically present, and be prepared to take advantage of that. But you could also set dates in the future and choose a place where you're going to be more comfortable. They're going to anticipate it. They might have collected some of their thoughts. You might, in fact, let them know, hey, you remember when we ran into these 3 hiccups and we got through those? Yeah, if you could just talk a little bit about that experience, that would be great, right? Like, kind of remind them of things, like seed it a little bit, because they don't know what to say. If you just ambush someone, just using that term, if you just ambush someone, it's obviously going to be awkward. They're not going to be convincing. They're not going to make great eye contact. They're not clear about where they want to go with it. So you can prepare them for that. And then the last note, and this is just going to be a little selfish mention, when you send out videos with BombBomb to people, there's a reply with video link. If you check a little box, they can reply back to you with their own videos. And so we can take over their webcam or their smartphone or their tablet camera, and they can send videos back to you at their own time. And so this, like the Andy Alger ask, could you click the link down below and give me a review, is, hey, thank you so much for choosing to work with me, Michael. Really appreciate it. You know, we went through some really crazy stuff. We looked at 15 different houses, and, you know, that one fell through. But, you know, obviously it all worked out at the end. I think we got this great opportunity for you, and I just hope it's everything that you expect. Hey, could you do me a favor? You know, however you want to position. Hey, could you click that link above at your convenience? You can use your webcam while you're sitting at your desk or your smartphone or tablet, and you can just tell that story a little bit, and it'll come back to me in a video. And then that video just sits in your BombBomb account. You can drop it into another email. You could put it into one of your drip campaigns. You could share it out on social. You could download it and put it anywhere else you want. So I think, specifically to David's question, you know, I think doing it at a time that's going to be most anticipated and most comfortable for that person, and the more you can prepare them for that in advance, that, A, this is cool, this isn't like a profession, this isn't a television production, this is just a, hey, do you think it would be helpful to hear what other people say about service? Yeah, of course, it would be helpful to see that from somebody. And so putting them in a good place, preparing them for it in advance, and or even letting them do it on their own time. There's just some ideas around that.
Valerie, it's something for Dave.
So, Dave, I kind of want to blow your mind a little bit. So I'm watching this TED Talk about reviews a couple of months ago, and the person who's doing the talk says, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, wherever it was, they came up with this rating system that people were like, oh my God, this is going to affect my life. And they called it your credit score. And so it became your currency. It became the ability for you to buy a car, buy a house, sometimes get a job, rent an apartment, get into the military. Like, all of these things depended on who you were in that number that defined you. That was your currency. And I was like, wow, I never thought about my credit score that way, right? It's a rating. It's a rating. And so the person during the TED Talk said, so think about it this way. In the future, the credit score is going to mean nothing. Your currency is going to be your online reputation, because already there's an app, several apps, where you can go in and it'll harvest every piece of public information that exists about you and pull it all into one place. And I can pull up a dossier on your mortgage, your debt, how long you've lived somewhere, what people say about you, the pictures you post on social media, the groups you're a part of, the people you're friends with. All of that makes up your online reputation, and that's going to be your currency in the future. You're going to get jobs or get things sold to you based on who you are online. And the great thing is like, just like your credit score, you have the ability to control that. You can get reviews. You can make sure that you're in the right places. You can engage in the right conversations that are ultimately going to decide what your online currency is. And I listened to that and I thought, we're fighting this whole online revolution of, oh, no privacy, transparency, reviews, the things people say about us. Everybody can know everything, but it's not that dissimilar from 30 years ago where your credit score became who you are.
Absolutely.
That was mind-blowing. I like that you saved that to the end.
Perfect.
That's one thing people do. They go right out and they Google you.
Yes.
And you know what? The funny thing is, before we got on the air, quickly got on the air, Dave said to Ethan that he's taking private coaching through BombBomb because Dave's explanation was, I like accountability. That's all ratings and reviews are, guys. It's accountability. That's all that it is. And whether you're doing one transaction a year or if you are Chris Spiker who gets coaching, even a guy like Chris Spiker needs and wants accountability no matter where you are, and that's all that ratings and reviews are. Dave, takeaway, final thought.
Well, my takeaway is something Ethan talked about very quickly, and I've already talked about this in my coaching call. It's that we're going to put together some a BombBomb video. We're going to ask for reviews from all our clients. We got a lot of clients out there, and our clients are happy working with us. So, you know, we're something we're going to do. It's something that even if you're not using BombBomb, but I suggest that people look into it. There's a free trial, I'm pretty sure. If not, make a video up, send it out to your clients. You got to start getting reviews. And if you're worried about it, we've talked about it. Improve your service. Up your game.
Play offense, please, guys. Please play offense. Val, how do people get a hold of you if they're not already connected with you on Twitter and all that sort of stuff? How do people find Valerie Garcia? Twitter's
great. Facebook is good as well. Facebook, I'm at val.remax. You know, all day long, every day. Facebook is the best way to reach me.
Ethan, how do people get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of BombBomb? All that good stuff.
I am Ethan Beute. That's ETHAN BEUTE on all the social networks, so you can Google that and you'll find it all. And we're BombBomb everywhere on social networks, so it's just BOMB, BOMB, BombBomb.com. To Dave's observation, absolutely, you can try it free for 2 weeks, no credit card information required, and hit us up, give us feedback.
Awesome. Love your platform. Not a paid promoter. Love BombBomb. Next week's show, we are going to talk about offices that are ready to take on real estate in 2015. We're going to have a couple brokers. Is that what they're called in the state? Hey, what's it called, Dave? Are you an agent or are you a broker?
Well, I'm a broker, sales associate. I have a broker's license, and I've managed. And you need a broker's license to either manage or be a broker of an office. But if you're not, I'm working under another broker. So I'm a broker, sales associate.
Michael, we usually call them broker owners here, right? Like
yeah. See, it's always
broken owners.
Broker of record.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a couple broker owners in the RE/MAX system that are pushing the envelope, moving things along. We always hear that the agents are moving forward. We're going to talk to a couple brokers that are pushing offices forward, get an idea of what they're doing, why they're doing it, the reaction, how it's being embraced by the agents that work for them. We're going to talk about culture and all that good stuff. That is November the 21st, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. If you have any referrals heading out to the East Coast, get a hold of Dave. He'll put you in the hands of the right RE/MAX agent. Any referrals coming out to the West Coast of Canada, get a hold of me and I'll put you in the hands of the right RE/MAX agent. And as Melanie Gallia of RE/MAX Fort McMurray wants us to end every show, please tell 5 other RE/MAX agents about the show. We grow every week, and it allows us to reach out to two of our favorite guests, Ethan Beute and Valerie Garcia. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much. Hey, Ethan, say hi to the crew at lunch. Say hi to Connor and James and Jose and Sarah, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks, Val. We will see you soon. Oh, you got RE/MAX and you coming Tuesday.
Big event.
What's the hashtag? If our audience wants to follow along, take away some nuggets. What's the hashtag for the event?
It's going to be a great event. We've got some fantastic speakers, Lee Brown, Tony Joe, Stone Sisters, a couple of fantastic announcements from RE/MAX in general. You can follow along, hashtag RMXNU. RMXNU on Tuesday next week.
YOU?
Nope, RMXN, the letter U.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, Val. Thanks, Dave. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.